Hey YouTube, Brian LCS, and welcome to a Comic Book Community 411 with my special guest, the Immortal Biggieshaq. Biggie,
Yes,
welcome.
thank you for having me on, Brian. I appreciate you. We've been talking to each other on Instagram for a while now. Big Brian has a superb channel with his morning videos, and I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, before we get into the questions, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself or your channel, and we'll have I'll have Biggie's links down below for both his YouTube and Instagram. So if you're not familiar with them, and please go check them out.
All right. So I am the Immortal Biggieshaq. I believe my YouTube channel says the Immortal Biggieshaq. It's spelled correctly now. It's two M's, all one word, Biggieshaq. You'll find me if you look hard enough. And my thing is, man, is I enjoy sharing my experience with the hobby and comic books. And I have been here for I've been on YouTube for a long time. Probably longer than anybody I've seen on here, but I started off as a gaming channel for fighting games, and it's morphed into a bunch of things. There for a good chunk of it, it was toys, Transformers, and then it turned into comic books. So started off fighting, toys. Um, that's pretty much. And I had a little bit of UFC pay-per-views and wrestling stuff, pay-per-views, and morphed into this comic book hobby, which I was a little scared of at first. I'm not gonna lie. I seen a bunch of dollar signs. I saw um, a bunch of stuff that I wasn't that familiar with or knew a lot of, and it took time to be able to understand what the hobby and where to spend my money, and because I'm pretty tight, so it took me a little while, and thankfully I was able to meet and learn a lot of stuff from people on YouTube with comic books, and pretty much that's where we are now. So,
All right. I think that, yeah, and I first discovered your channel. I mean, I've been on YouTube for about, my own channel for almost 2 years, but I first discovered your channel as, when you were into the comic books already. And the one thing that I liked about your channel and continue to like about your channel is that you're not, you speak your mind. You see something in the community that you don't agree with, you'll call it out, you'll talk about it. So that's one of the things that I really that I enjoy about you watching your content.
yes, it's true. I like to think that I'm a vigilante of sorts, and I speak for a random group or few, and I like to get my point across and shit. And but I try to be as open minded and as considerate as I can be. And then if I'm ever wrong, I'll apologize and admit it and stuff like that. But it's important for people to have everything out on a table in my mind. So if I'm gonna share my time and my energy and try to work on relationships with people, I would like to have an upfront um, kind of situation. So you don't have to tell everybody everything,
Right.
but you gotta just try to be as genuine as you can, I think. And luckily there hasn't been any traumatic things has happened. It's 98.7% good. And what I mean, any day we wake up and are able to enjoy life and have our collections, the kind of collections we got, man, it's so tremendous, dude. And I just so proud of everybody in the way everybody's forming into cool collectors, and people have great personalities. That's the thing with the comic book community. Is like I never thought I'd meet anybody that enjoyed or talked or thought the same things I did or whatever, man. I've met got to spend time and talk to people that I would have never been able to meet, and have definitely influenced or guided me down this track. And I'm always the first one to wave my hand, like, I need help. I need help me figure this out, please. Like, I'm always trying to absorb and sponge off people and learn. And I may not be good at it. Like, I still can't edit videos or do any of that shit, but I do pick up on some things. And I may not be the greatest like video clipper motherfucker, but my books are pretty badass, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely you. That's one of the things I noticed too. Early on watching some of your stuff was some of the the books that you have in your collection, or so yeah. But no, agreed. I mean, it is a great community. For the most part, it's a good group of people, common interests. Toys, collectibles, comics. So it's good to be a part of it. So what my first real question is going to be, what got you into collecting? Like, how did you get introduced? What was the thing that got you into buying comic books?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was collecting toys because in my early 20s, I was pretty wild. Like, I didn't have any responsibilities. Pretty ran reckless and loose, brother, and I wasn't as tied down as I am now. So I started collecting toys, and I really enjoyed it because it was so easy. Because my Goodwill got all these toys, and they started them at like a quarter a toy and 50 cents a dollar, and I'm finding G1 Transformers, and it was beautiful. For like 8 years, dude, it was just like every Friday and Saturday, I'd wake up in the morning, head down there. I only had to spend $4 or $5, and I had a bag full of like vintage '80s figures and shit. I couldn't for the longest time. And then they got new management, so I didn't see those toys anymore. And they were saying they were putting them on the internet. Never found the right internet place because I knew they were getting the toys. You could tell, like, people grow through items and collectibles and just give them away. You know.
Right.
So I could tell in my town, like, there was a good flow of toys coming in. People couldn't wait to get rid of their kids' toys and clear up space and shit. So you had all these dope toys from the movie figures and whatever's going on at that time, pop culture. But that kind of dried up, and my girlfriend was reading a lot of comics on the internet, and she ran across Walking Dead, and we started streaming Walking Dead to watch it live and shit. And I went into a comic shop. I've been going into comic shops because I buy Transformers from there, and I did get some comics like when I was 13, but I didn't have the money back then, so that was a real small venture. But when I came back, it was like she wanted a Walking Dead. She wanted to have the first volume, and I said, no, we can't do that. I'll get you that later, but for now, we have to get a floppy issue because that's the collectible way. You know, if we're gonna do this, then we're gonna get books that we hope are worth money, and
Hmm.
we're not gonna miss the ones that are if we're collecting this stuff. So we need to get floppies, is what I told her. And we started at like 150, and I saw Image First #1, Walking Dead. I grabbed it, and she ended up getting one of them compendiums or whatever the hell they were. But we've been collecting every week since then. I collect Walking Dead until it ended, and I'm collecting other comics now. But that's pretty much how it started. Was my girlfriend wanting Walking Dead stuff?
Okay, that's interesting. I recently heard. I think somebody else. I think it was Nick Comic Culture who said the same thing. Walking Dead was he was watching the show, and then that got him interested in comic books. So that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. So how did you make the leap then to say, all right, now I'm gonna start? And I know you had a YouTube channel, prior with, but when did you make the leap to say I'm gonna put this up on, YouTube?
It was pretty much instant. I couldn't wait to share that I collected comics with the YouTube channel I had because I was already showing like Optimus Primes and whatever you could think of hauls, and it was her long box for the longest time, bro. I would be getting like pretty violent, and I hate Fairyland, and all of the indies, or whatever you could think of. Walking Dead, of course, and we had the LCS, which never had great back issues. Now looking back, I wish I would have been smarter and dug into the long boxes a little more. But they never had like them big $100 wall books, right? But around that time, there was a little boom in the comic shit, and we had a second comic shop in my town when I first started, and they had some pretty decent stuff there. And I was going through their bins, and the first book, there was two, and I don't know which one I bought first. I can't remember. It might have been the ASM, but I saw an ASM Annual 7, and it's the one with the white cover and Hobgoblin, I think's on the cover. It's a beautiful book. The
Okay.
annual, it's got the binding on the spine. So I get that one for like $10, and I open it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is from like 1967. Like I'm holding this book.
Right.
It felt
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it was printed. It felt like it was printed last week or something, and it's from 1968 or 67. I'm like, is this real? So I go to my LCS. I'm like, that says 68. Is that the year this came out? And they was like, yes. And I was just like, what the fuck? And it just blew my mind. And I think the next book I got, or what might have been before, my favorite one was Hulk Annual 5. So it was the second Groot. It was the second Groot, and it's a Hulk Annual book. It's from like '68 too, and
Okay.
it's got all the monsters on the front. It's a great book, and I got that for like $13. And I started off straight away magnetized to like Kirby and ASM and Romita and Ditko. It was just like I was wanting that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, my town didn't have a ton of it. I mean, we had some decent Kirby stuff and Ramita or whatever, but not the big keys. So
Mm.
it took a while for me to transition seriously. It went from me collecting my girlfriend's stuff to, okay, I see some value in this and I want to get started in investing. Well, I don't have much income coming in, so the only way I could find a way to do it was to learn from these YouTube channels how to find these minor keys and learning all these books and seeing people be successful at finding this stuff and making money. So I would watch the top tens, and I would go to these shops, and I would find back issues, and then I eventually was talked into or suggested to get a PayPal and sell on YouTube, and I've done that. And just a little, if you're able to, that's another reason I like my channel is I show you every step by step process to be able to get a collection like mine. So I'll actually show you the books I sold. I'll tell you how much I paid for them. I'll tell you how much I'm selling them for, and what books I'm aspiring to get. And I think it's just a fun way to even I look back and remember things from it because I have it on video. So
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean that's right. That's kind of like the basics when you're if you want to build a big collection, right? Buy stuff inexpensively and then be able to sell it for a better price and then use that money to help fund other books. So yeah, I've had that a few times where I've stumbled across a book for real cheap and then being able to sell it to fund other things within the collection. So
yeah.
yeah, that's cool. So what about a character, whether it's a character or a comic book, if you had control, if you had creative control over a character, who would you tackle and what would you do with it?
Well, my favorite superhero character is Superman, and if I had creative control of Superman, I would probably be doing some throwback like homages right now. I would be hammering people with some not the normal shit we've been seeing like Action One and all that. I would like pump out a facsimile for Brainiac. I would probably bring back Metamorphosis or wherever the hell Metamorpho. Probably bring him back because he's a classic Brave and the Bold character. Like he was top five at one point. Maybe some Parasite, uh, form a an evil team to go at Superman and really test him and push his limits with Lois Lane because she's annoying and shit like that. I'd probably mark off Lois Lane instantly.
The big breakup.
Yeah, that would be huge. That would be a huge storyline. Just kill Lois, let my boy be free for once in his life, and go from there. Probably sounds like a plan.
That's great. That's funny. Get rid of the ball and chain, right?
Dude, she's done about every evil, horrible thing you can do to one character. I don't think any other wife or girlfriend's ever been as hated as Lois. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the gist I get from all of the books I've read with Lois Lane.
That's
She's
funny.
a
I don't think I've ever
down.
heard anybody say that before, but
Oh,
makes
dude,
sense.
she's
So,
married. She's married the devil. She's cheated on him with Batman. She's done about every selfish ass thing you can think of, bro.
so maybe Lois Lane is Superman's biggest villain.
That's what I get from it, dude. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
funny.
she loves him. She's cool and everything sometimes, but she's got a checkered past, brother.
That's great. So, what about whether it's collecting or the comic book community here on YouTube? What's one thing or something that you don't like, that you dislike about the hobby?
Oh, dislike about the hobby, dude. Oh man, I tell you, the thing that gets me going, man, is like it's usually it's usually the guys that are smiling the most and telling you how much they love them and are squeaky clean, like they go to church every day of the week and holier than now. That probably are the nastiest people in real life. Like I say wild shit on here and I get crazy and stuff because I feel like I'm friends with people and are able to display myself and shit. But like a phony kind of like tit for tat kind of, I don't know, not tit for tat, but like squeaky clean, like I was saying. Those are the kind of people I don't really trust as much. It's like one of those things from being from Ohio. Like when you are able to cuss in front of people and are able to speak your mind, that's when you're truly comfortable. Whenever you're like, "Hi, I'm nice to meet you," and this is
Yeah.
this and that, and it's just like I get like nervous and goosebumps and shit because those are the people that are like may have an agenda. So just some of the corny stuff that sells off, people kind of enjoy that. I don't know that may be the best information or something, but it's their world. I'd say that's one thing I don't like though.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think you definitely want to, you want to be yourself, right? I mean, my channel, the person that I am on YouTube is the same as I am off camera, but I do, there are some channels that you watch or videos that you get a sense like that's like a little bit of an act, right? They're putting something on and it's not, like you said, it's not what they are off camera.
Yeah, you might get a video where they'll tell you that they got a book and they'll give you this outlandish story like they got it for $1 or something, and I'm sure some of those videos are just made up to get like attention, and then you're teaching people the wrong way of how to collect and stuff. It's
Right.
like if you're going to come on here and it's all for show and phony and shit, then it's not. Like I enjoy channels that are pretty raw and uncut. My favorite YouTube channel is 84. My boy Comic Head 84. He don't
Okay.
do
Yeah.
much content lately, but it's just that I always was able. Once I met him, I was like, oh, I get it, and I guess I'm a bit of a judge of character, like I was saying, a vigilante. So, like, if I magnetize somebody instantly, and don't get me wrong, like if I get the vibe, I always give everybody a chance. So if I get a vibe like I don't like somebody, I always try to um, see how where it goes before I make my mind up. But I've had a lot of friendships where I might see somebody first and be like, I don't know if I'll get along with them, and then they end up being some of my best friends. So You know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes your first impression, like I think my first video that I ever saw of you, I think you were driving in the car, smoking and had some music going, and I'm like, what is this? What is this guy doing? And then I got to know you a little, watched a little more of your videos. I'm like, I like Biggie because he speaks his mind. He keeps it real. And so, but that first impression, I was like, what is this guy doing? Like, where's he going?
Yeah,
But
that's interesting. Yeah, I've had other people tell me that kind of sort of thing too. Like I think if I'm a at first glance kind of person that you may not be like able to quite understand it at first. It may be a little um abrasive, because you can't have like my video going in church or at school because you'll hear f bombs and not the greatest things. So I hate that I miss out on some people enjoying my content because I am a little too vulgar. But like I was saying earlier, like I want to get comfortable with everybody. I feel like if you watch my channel, you pretty much can tell who I am by now. So that's
yeah.
a lot. That's with a lot of people. Like you watch their channel enough, you pick up on stuff.
Yeah, you got to give him a chance, right? And then I think, like I said, my first impression was like, "Wow, well, who is this guy? What?" But then, I think one of the other videos I saw was like you hanging out with your son playing basketball or riding a bike, and I'm like, the guy's a father. He's hanging out with his kid, and so my initial impression of you changed because I'm like, I was wrong. I like my first impression was like, oh, who is this guy? What's he doing? And then, and then I came around like. I like Biggie,
Yeah,
and then I started to see, like I said, some of the things that you'll be outspoken or just speaking on whatever on your mind, and I'm like, that's cool. I can relate to that. So
I really care about people, and I really care about being able to share experiences. So there's been a few people in the community like I'll get to talking to in the chat, and the chat is what builds all of our channels, and we have some of the greatest chats in the world in my mind because we all love each other so much. So I'll just get to meet somebody in the chat, and a lot of these guys don't have YouTube channels, and you kind of like manipulate them into getting a YouTube channel, and then you're like, go get a camera and a mic, and you're coming on my channel, and I've done that with a few guys, and I'm so glad that they are still around and they enjoy it, and they're like, oh yeah, you know what, this is fun, and I really uh, I enjoy watching channels hit gold marks and maybe doing some of the stuff I've done and doing stuff that people haven't done before. Pushing the limit. There's only so much stuff you could do with video cam, but people we've been using our brains so much, dude. I think we take advantage about every possible thing we can to share with each other on this channel or on YouTube. So
yeah, no, the live chat is the live stream and the live chat. The people just hanging out. That's the best part of it because people are just. I've been in on streams where the chat is like they're off doing their own thing. They're not even really even paying attention to what's going on, on the channel. They're having a good time all by themselves. So
yeah.
and Dope, right? Dope Comics was one of your first victims, right? You were the reason why he jumped on, right?
He was. I talked Dope into coming on my channel. I talked Man Caves into coming in on. He already had a channel, but he never did a stream with anybody before. So I talked
Yeah,
him
okay.
into doing that, and he was an off-channel personality. He would just show the books at first, but there was a lot of guys like that were like off-channel personalities when I first came in. It wasn't really you seen the face as much. You just saw
The
what the
books,
books
yeah, yeah.
were in a voice overlay. So guys like Metarog wasn't on camera. My friend Hialeah, I was just streaming with him last night, and we talked him into coming on Power Hour with me in '84, and that was his first time on camera. He would just show books. So it's a fun thing, man, and now it's just a given. Your face is going to be part of your channel. It's not your books.
Yeah, no, I think I discovered. I don't know if I saw Dope first. I think I saw Dope on your, one of your live streams, and then he's got such a great channel, and he's just another one of those great personality. You get the sense that what you see on camera is what he's like in real life, and he shows off some books that I've never seen before.
Oh, he's the best horror content channel there is, and I say that pretty confidently because I mean, there's at least in the circle that we know each other in. Now, there's probably a more educated or whatever, but for a guy that will come on and actually talk to you and show you and have the information like that, he is very good at the horror comic stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and he's got some great Superman books too.
Oh my god, bro! The Superman 1 through 10, he's got like 2 through 10 or some shit. I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah,
Yeah, they're
it's
great.
impressive. All right, so let's see. Next question I have for you. Well, this is so we made it through the four questions that I always ask everybody, and then we come up with two random, one that I'll pick and one that we'll pick from a list. But my question for you is there a book that you've sold that you wish you didn't sell, or a book that's on the wish list that you hope to get one day?
Well, I don't sell many books I regret selling. I usually keep it. My process is sell a bunch of little stuff and get one big thing. So it'll be like a bunch of $10, $15 books. But I have had to break my rule a few times, and I would say the two biggest books I sold were a first Gambit double sig 9.4 gold label. It was pretty nice, and
Uh-huh.
then a Fighting 540 first Peacemaker. It's kind of an obscure key, but first Peacemaker is pretty cool. And but the one that I'm like, I don't think I'll ever be able to pay what people ask for it, and it was such a pretty book. Was a Spidey Super Stories 11. It's the first Black Spider Woman, and it's got this John Romita cover where Doc Ock's in a wrestling ring and Spider Man, and it's a John Romita Senior. It's just perfect,
Hmm.
bro. It
I
might
don't
be
know if I
one of
know
the
that cover.
best.
I gotta check that out.
Oh, I'll send you a picture of it. You'll love it. It's probably one of my favorite ASM covers.
Ah, yeah. I've had a few ASM that I got rid of, which I never did. So I know that pain a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna give you a total random question. So I have a list of 50 questions. So just give me a number 1 through 50, and wherever we land, that'll be your question.
All right. Let's go 32.
32. All right. So this one is, what do you spend the most time thinking about?
What do I spend the most time thinking about? My my family's health and safety.
Okay.
That's what I think about the most.
Yeah. I can relate to that, right? I have three kids, so I know, they're always, I actually just had some conversations with my sons this weekend just about, they're a little bit older. They're in their 20s. So just talking to them about, life and direction and those kind of things. So yeah, yeah.
It's very important to take advantage of the time you have with your kids, and um, from all the stuff I've learned about being a father and raising a child, I waited till I was very mature. As mature, I don't seem mature, but I'm a very eccentric person. But anyways, I waited till I was about 37. So I was always the guy like, I'm not having a kid, I'm not ready. And then I got to an age I was like, well, if I don't do it now, I don't think I'm going to do it. And I got scared. I was like, there ain't gonna be nobody around whenever I get older. Like, I'm gonna be by myself. I need something for sure. And luckily, me and Melody have been together for like 20 years, and just recently we had Little Shaq, and I named him after me. That's not his real name. His name's Julius. So he don't go by Julius. He goes by Alexander. But I still make sure that's his first name because he's got to go through the pain I went through being a Julius. It's not really painful. It's a good thing. But yeah, I've learned that having the natural biological parents together is super important, and to not pawn them off on your, on your mom or your girlfriend's mom, and actually take the time and enjoy it because they grow up like zip,
Oh
zip,
yeah.
zip. Yeah, he'll be in kindergarten next year, so
Oh wow. Yeah, it goes quick. It goes
it
quick.
goes too quick, and it's really that's the toughest thing is like you kind of want to do it again, but it took so much out of us. Like my girlfriend wasn't the youngest, and she had some health issues, and you have to compensate and work on things, and
Sure.
it's not easy. So I feel like we're just gonna make one good one and make sure make sure we enjoy it while it lasts.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's once you have that first child, it or our child, it changes everything, right? Your priorities change, your perspective changes. We were talking about it on one of my recent shows too. People were saying, you get a little bit more emotional about things. The bond between yourself and a child. So yeah, yeah. No, that totally makes sense.
And the thing he enjoys doing the most is sitting on Instagram or YouTube, and he plays with like the filters and the things where you record.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, he records himself and he makes faces, he makes little shorts, and
That's
I've
great.
heard him saying like he wants to be on YouTube, and so the goal is to like maybe get him a channel going, and hopefully he'll keep collecting. Would be great.
Oh, that's cool. And is he into, I mean, obviously at
Yeah,
probably 5, he's into toys and things like that, but
he don't know how to like respect collectibles yet.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he does. He don't tear up any of my stuff. He knows to walk around my stuff easily and be careful. But like, if I was to give him something to keep, I've gave him comics before. He'll just tear them up. He just tears everything up. But he does. He knows, dude. I was holding a book and I didn't know the character. And he said it. He was like, "Oh, that's
Oh,
that's uh that's Captain Marvel or something." I was like, I think it is." I was like, so he's whiz at that shit.
wow, that's good. That's great.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Well,
I was
those
gonna
are
say
all the questions.
before we got out of here, man, I just want to make sure everybody. I didn't get to speak about the comic book wrestling as much.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was going to say. We're done with my questions, but what else, anything else that you want to mention or?
I'm sorry, yeah. So I didn't mean to jump in on there
No,
with you,
that's all
but
right.
we're both on the same game plan. A little extra content at the end. Okay, so I was going to say like the comic book wrestling is super important to me because we do this stuff where we compete and people bring out books, and we get to, like I was saying before, like how much interaction can we get in this community? How far can we push these limits and boundaries, right? So now it's not like, oh, okay, we got books and we got personalities and shit. No, we got a whole gimmick, we got storylines, we got characters. My boy Tone, he does the intros. We do a whole half a year will go by on a storyline. So comic books and YouTube have gotten to be where we could like pretend to have our own little federations and factions and shit, and that's super fascinating to me. I'm really proud to be like involved in that aspect of the community. Two of my favorite comic book YouTube personalities that have passed away were part of that group. So Comic Jabroni, he did Macho Man, and my boy Sam from Sam's Tangled Webs.
Oh, yeah.
He loved wrestling very much, and I miss Sam so much because Sam would be the first person to tell you he loved you, and he got everybody's humor, and sometimes I think about Bueller when I think about Sam, and it's just like that's very personal to me, and I've gotten a lot of good friends through that experience. Like Doc has done wrestling with me. Like who would ever thought like Doc? Why would he do something silly willy like that? But
Right.
he, he's that close of a friend that he would go out of his way to be like, okay, Biggie, I'll hop on the wrestling with you. And 84, me and 84 and Tone pretty much started all of the shit. Like Tone with the hunt, especially accented everything, and me and 84 would do the power hour and shit. And now, I mean, there's probably 100 different people that have been in a comic book wrestling thing at this point. So super proud of that, and just wanted to put a good because I see your channel and I see people in the chat, and you guys like wrestling. Like you can't
Oh
tell
yeah,
me that.
there's a lot of wrestling fans. I don't watch current wrestling, but I was a big fan like in the '80s. You know, Hogan and Iron Sheik, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. You know, that was kind of my Wild Samoans, Jimmy Snuka. Those were like my guys back in the day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy. I
I
mean, I saw Jimmy Snuka and the Wild Samoans at a local high school at a high school gym wrestle. One time, and so yeah, it's. I think a lot of us are into wrestling at some point.
yeah, I remember every Monday getting home from work and watching Monday Nitro and Hogan, NWO, and before that it was the '80s Hogan and all that stuff. But that was more Americana back then. There was more of a, I think it was more popular back then. But people act like WWE's doing pretty good. They haven't really hit them heights as they have back in the
Oh yeah,
'90s.
back in the early days. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out before we hopped out of here because that's probably one of the main things on my channel is like I love Hogan and Biggie and Shaquille O'Neal. So I'm kind of like a pop culture experience. Like I think a lot
Okay,
of us are
yeah,
like
that's
that.
cool.
Yeah,
Biggie. I mean, Shaq himself. Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, he's one of the most generous, down to earth guys. I mean, all the thing. I mean, not that I know him, but I mean, the videos that I've seen of him, in a store and just buying somebody, an engagement ring or a bicycle for their son and things like that. So he's one of those just fun guys to watch.
yeah, I'm glad I brought that up because one more thing before I go is like DJ Links is a phenomenal member, and he's always made sure I've been comfortable and shit around like people and stuff. And it's because there's like the I've been around a little while, and then there's kind of a newer crew with the Corona crew. I don't know. I think that's how they do it. Like two,
Yeah.
3 years ago,
Hey,
as a
I mean,
group
that's
of
where I
guys.
started.
Right. So he has made. I love Lynx because I'm a very musical kind of guy. Like I love music, and DJ Lynx, dude. As soon as I seen him pop up, I was like, oh my god, we got a DJ. We got a
Right.
freaking
Yeah.
DJ in the community, right? So I'm like, bro, you got to do the rap battles, and he did. Like he did them for a while. Like he ain't been doing them lately because I think that we all kind of got a little too sensitive and butthurt at one point. but
That
but
happens, right?
yeah, I mean, after a while, I guess everybody gets worn a little raw. But I think it'll come back eventually, and just the experience of doing it in the past, and even if we don't do another one, like what a hell of a dude! I fucking love that guy.
I think he mentioned recently, I think on one of his on the mix shows, he mentioned that he was going to try to bring it back this year at some point. And then even the all the rap videos that you guys did with
Yeah,
actual
yeah,
Dracula and all of that. I mean, those were fantastic. I mean, they
yeah.
were like MTV level, videos that we watched.
I love the creative part, man. We were talking about before we came out here, like there's certain little genres of the community, and you got your new comic book day hall people, you got your collectors, you got your auctioneers, and then you got these like personality channels and stuff, and we all kind of like push the limits as far as we can, and that was definitely like a push right there because first off, never been like hip hop battles as far as I know. And then to make music videos like that, we did really good, but that was like our first or second try. Like I always think like, what will it be like the 10th try? You know, like
Right,
what will
right.
happen? Because I mean, that's really good and shit, but they did that kind of stuff off a month of time, or sometimes a couple months. But super impressive. I love people that are artistic and talented, and very very artsy talented group there. So
Yeah,
I,
well, I
I
think what was Comic Head was on. I think he just did a live stream this past week or so where he was in front of a keyboard, right? He was just doing some music and some singing and rapping, and yeah, I mean that was like this is a comic book channel, but yet here we are. He's entertaining us, like with real entertainment, singing and music and things like that. So
you
that
know,
was pretty cool to see.
that's what I've been hollering. That's what I'm always saying, man. My boy Madness 84 is a super talent. He is the grand champion in the hip hop battles, and he ain't just a champ, like he's defended for a while. So very proud of my guy. And yes, if he would start doing more current content, I think that he would get a nice group support because he's like I was saying, like he's like naturally talented at a bunch of things. So I'm not saying other people ain't better than him. It's just like for me, like if I could push somebody to put out more content, I would hope that Madness would. So hopefully
Yeah,
he
that's
will.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, if he does, I'll be hopping on his channel. I could bet that. I've been kind of holding back some books because last year I went wild. I bought a ton of books that were good. This year I'm like, I'm gonna hold back some good shit because I know Madness has some books, and when he comes back and we do an auction, I can go after that FF48.
nice.
Yeah.
One of the other channels too. Free Key. Are you familiar with Free Key Louie?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my
so
guy.
Louis is, I mean, he's one of those guys too, talented guys. I mean, he's putting on costumes and wigs and doing skits, and you look at that, and you look at like, my channel's mainly, I'm sitting in front of the camera showing you what I got, or sitting down with other people within the community. But when you look at a channel like Louis, where he's, skits and wigs and costumes, it's like
I've been
that's on a different level.
I've been low key hitting Freaky. He needs to hop on a channel with me, so hopefully I can get him on there. But we're pretty good friends. I love Freaky, and I feel like Freaky and Remy are probably the most criminally under appreciated subscribed
Yeah.
channels because they both put a lot of energy into the community. And by the way, like you're almost at 1,000. You're going to pass a bunch of people up, I'm sure, because you've been flying. But you're about 20 away or 25 away right now.
Yeah, yeah, getting close. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
And
Thank you.
I think everybody. I think there's enough for everybody out there. Honestly,
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, it's there certainly has been. I mean, like I said, I've been on 2 years, but I've seen a bunch of new channels come in since I've been on, and I like going and discovering, a new channel that maybe a new channel to me, but it's been around for a while, or supporting some of the newer channels that come on. So, I think it's that's part. People did that for me when I came on. Shout outs and mentions and asking me to come on their channel. So, I always like to try to do that, and kind of pay it forward for for other channels. So,
absolutely, dude. It make it you kind of feel like you owe it to them because it's true. It's just being able to know. And I always tell people like people act like it's hard to get big books and stuff sometimes, and I'll say, dude, you could just enter contests
right.
and win big huge books if you just spend about an hour and a half a day, 2 hours, like looking for a contest enter. Like that's why Metarog is so important because he does
Oh
the
yeah, his
contest.
little weekly video he does. Yeah, with the contest. Yep.
Yeah, and if I mean we all collect comics, that's what we're all here for. Like people are giving them away, man, and that's how I got a lot of my books was from giveaways. So
Yeah. No, the generosity within the community is amazing. I mean, the amount, like you said, giveaway books or just AOKs and things like that. So it's it's something. that I'm not used to. Just people randomly giving some stuff away, but it's nice to see.
It really is.
All right, Biggie. So before we wrap up, anything else? Anything else you'd like to mention? Like I said, I have links down below for both your YouTube channel and your Instagram. So please go check out Biggie if you're not familiar with him. I don't know how you could not be, but just in case, if you're not, go
Yeah,
check him
man. No,
out.
thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate that, and That's what I like to do. Is like I try to give everybody in the community some time because I would like to meet as many people as I can. So if you're watching this video and you think it'd be interesting to talk to me, you can hit me up on Instagram or come watch me on my channel. And I I I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be able to enjoy each other. And you could catch me on the hunt this Friday. Tony Sanders' 100th Hunt episode. Big Bleeker versus Dustin from Two Brother Comics,
Oh,
and hell in a fire match, Hell in a Cell or something. It's going to be the Rain of Fire, Tower Fire. Okay, so you got that, and then there's going to be tag matches. There's going to be every championship's up for grabs,
oh
and
wow.
yep. And I'm trying to get Doc back in the scene, man. So next time I talk to Doc, I'm gonna urge him to get back in the comic book scene because I really miss my guy, man. Like I haven't seen Doc around as much. He used to pop up a little bit more, Madness. Shout out to Madness and everybody else, man. Like I said, Roscoe and Remy, go hit those guys up. Those are really fun channels up on the rise. And Brian's channel is the shit, and everybody in the chat. I love all y'all. So I'll see y'all later, man.
All right, Biggie. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yep.
Thanks everybody for watching, and definitely go check out Biggie's channel. Peace.
Later, guys.